The invoice is generated exactly on time, and it's being paid automatically. You can choose it naturally per client and according to what you decide, but it's being paid automatically, and then the money is being transferred to your account and being reconciled automatically with QuickBooks or any other GL that you're using.
You're listening to the Spotlight edition of The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Louis Prosperi. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Successful Bookkeeper Spotlight Podcast. My name is Louis Prosperi, and I'm looking forward to my guest today. He is based in Tel Aviv and is the co-founder of Anchor. It is an autonomous billing solution that gets every business paid on time, effortless, and redefines the business-to-business billing, collections, and payments. What I really like about this product is that normally we spotlight and highlight products for professional bookkeepers and accountants to use for their customers. This one is designed specifically to help the professional accountant and bookkeeper, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, Omry Man, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Omry, all our guests would love to know what made you want to start Anchor. But before we talk about why you wanted to start Anchor, give us a little bit of a background of your journey in the entrepreneurship world.
So it started quite early. I think even when I was a kid, so I would buy bracelets in the market for cheap and then sell it for more. But real businesses, I owned and started 2 different software companies. One marketing consultants agency for software specifically. Ended up selling a few companies, failing in one, and now Anchor, which is the new most exciting thing I ever did. And I think a big part of my journey as a business owner led me to Anchor. And
Right.
just a bit before we dive more into it, I dive into conversations because they're very interesting, and then I recall that I forgot to even explain what we do. So for everybody listening, I hope I get this in time. Anchor is a autonomous billing and collection platform. What we do is we automate the entire process from the engagement letter, collecting the payment information, automating issuing the invoice, collecting the invoice simultaneously, and then transferring the money to you and reconciling it. And we're doing it all in one system, and it's all very seamless and hopefully super easy. At least this is the feedback that we're getting. So, and the premise is making sure that businesses get paid on time and for that to be easy. And this is really not the norm, and we want to change that.
That's interesting. Based on your description, it sounds like you've been in the professional services business and experienced what we have, which is we're good at our jobs, we do a great product, but then when it comes time to collect, that's where we struggle the most. Have you had that experience in your practices as well?
One too many times. There's 2 very vivid stories. One is the fact that I discovered the fact that there's something that is called net terms. I was unaware of this magical beast.
Right.
And we had a website creation software, and whenever I served my clients, it was always with so much passion, so much heart. It was always, they always had, very pressing deadlines,
Right.
usually yesterday. And you would really, really put in a lot of effort to make sure that you provide the best you can.
Yes.
And the sad thing is that when that pressure ends, all of a sudden the pressure for them ends and they disappear. And they disappear not because they're bad people. And we'll go that in a second, but I'll first, answer your question. So one bad experience was that, I got a payment, a check in the mail, and it was net 90. And I was absolutely convinced it was just an honest mistake. So then, I call him back and say, yeah, we had an agreement. It's payment, when I'm done.
Right.
And he was struck, like he was so surprised that I bring it up, because he felt that he was so good because he sent me that check immediately when he received the invoice. He was so happy with the service. But it was so natural that he chose his own, payment terms.
Yeah.
And ignored completely what we had in place. So
Right.
I was naturally very offended, but was my, getting my feet wet. It was a very early stage. So that's one. And the other is many calls later that you talk to people that you actually like. They're your clients, you like them, you enjoy working with them. And then you pick up the phone after they rushed you on deadlines. And the conversation normally goes like, oh, you didn't receive the invoice. Oh, but I sent it twice. Okay, so yeah, sure, I'll send it again. Oh, you're on a ski vacation. Oh, sure. When are you back? Okay, I'll call you back next week. So these conversations really made me feel, somewhat, unappreciated. And I think more than anything, after you have enough experience as a business owner, you don't necessarily get excited by these things, but they're a major cause of friction with your clients. And when you're a service provider, the relationship with your clients is very, very meaningful. So this is tampering with both your cash flow, your time, and the relationship with your client. So what we're doing at Anchor is trying to address all of these and make sure that both parties actually work a lot less or nothing at all, and keep this thing very, very much automated. Very much like we're gotten used to in SaaS and e-commerce products, where you place your payment information, and then the billing is actually being taken care of in the background. So this is what we're accomplishing for service providers and bookkeepers specifically.
You hit it right on that. When you were talking about servicing your customer, it even though you used the software service example, it mimics identically to the professional bookkeeper and accountant, because we constantly get people wanting things like yesterday, and I've got a deadline and so forth, and we're always trying to meet their needs first. And unfortunately for us service or professional firms, all our costs are up front, right? Because our biggest cost is usually payroll and all of that. So the way we collect is kind of, not only do we do the work first, we deliver it, and then we send out the invoice, and then meanwhile we've paid for this product on our cash basis maybe 30, 60 days ago, right? So, and then we do exactly what you said. It's the phone call, the phone tag, the reissuing of invoices, the vacation, and that is a big issue for a lot of bookkeepers and accountants. So anything that allows us to automate that process. And I think the other thing, which was kind of interesting, is it sounds like Anchor also helps us train our customers to bill, to pay us in a certain way, because once we put them in the system, it's automated. So they will have to pay us a certain way. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, definitely, but we don't need to train them. It just happens in the background, and they're a very happy camper, more than you even. And I'll explain why. People don't, and this is me circling back to why people are actually, our clients are not bad people. And the reason that they pay late, there's a very famous McKinsey report about B2B payments and digital payments and the transition. And they actually went deep to figure out and ask the question, like, why do late payment exist? And that's a very valid question. And unlike what we thought, that it's people are trying to, negotiate better deals, or it's a matter of cash flow for them. These exist, but they're very low, single digit percentage. The major ones, 78%, it's just a matter of priority. And I'll explain. So when we're sending an invoice to our client, we're basically sending them to work. He needs to go back to the agreement or to the proposal or to the email if this, a few months ago, or we need to make sure that you didn't make a mistake. You didn't add a zero, and we all have a mistake with an additional zero on an invoice, or it's not a duplicate invoice that he already paid. He needs to check it. He has what we call as an AP process. An AP process the purpose is to check for fraud, for errors, for things that may slip and shouldn't be paid. But it's manual, and your invoice is manual. So they need to validate everything. So naturally, we're sending them to work. No one likes that. And the closer the relationship is, actually the worse it gets, because your client in his head says, they know I'm good for it. He has a full intention of paying, but he feels okay to postpone it and, do it on his own timeline or his own billing day, not understanding that the repercussion to your business is you not knowing what's going to be at the end of the month. You don't know how much money you're going to have to pay salaries, to hire more people, to advertise. So when that is the situation as a business owner, it's almost impossible to grow your business high, because the ground is unstable. So if you stay close to the ground and you just move it very, very slowly, and this is a very deadly scenario for businesses. And if we are looking into the bigger implications, is 90% of small businesses in the US that closes, sadly, that is caused due to cash flow issues or cash flow related issues. And that doesn't actually come as a surprise when you think of it. Okay, you don't have money, the business perishes. What was a very big surprise for us, and this is a Dun & Bradstreet report from 2019, is that 60% out of those businesses were actually profitable on paper. The entire mix around getting paid and taking care of the cash flow and the invoicing and the billing and making sure that they don't leak things and they don't forget things, this entire thing basically didn't work for them. And the meaning of that, if we're actually solving that, that's equivalent to over 1 million jobs a year. So for us, this is a big part of our mission to actually remedy this situation, and we're starting from what we feel are the pillars of businesses, which are the bookkeepers and accountants. That's it.
No, that's pretty good, actually. That's really good, Omry. That was really good. The couple of things that I really liked. I really like your term, sending them to work. That makes perfect sense, in the sense of when you give someone a bill to pay, it is work for them, right? It's not a process that it comes natural, because their natural process is on the other side, which is to run their practice and do the services for their customers. So the billing process is probably and it's a necessary function. So if you go from manual to manual, it makes sense that there's a slowdown, even though the relationship between the professional, and in this case the bookkeeper, and his customer are excellent. They really like each other, right? So that is really cool, and the implied stress factor because of constantly having to ask for payment on both sides is very stressful. So I really like that. That's a really good one to say, sending them to work. That's great. So
I'll try to touch in a bit about how we actually solve it, because touching on the problem just leaves you with a bitter taste in your mouth. So I want to be able to provide a solution. What
Perfect.
we do when we analyze this thing, we understood that in order to actually solve this, we have to start, and if we want to automate billing and collection completely, we have to start before it even begins. We need to start at the agreement stage. And let's look at a normal scenario that, as you said, we're sending them to work and it's manual. Right now, you're sending an engagement letter, and it could be in DocuSign, it could be in an email, it could be a PDF, a Word, it could be a text, whatever. It's not necessarily compliant, but these are the things that we've encountered. And then you actually go off and work. And as
Yes.
you said, the work is completed. And then you send an invoice, and then you validate it was received. You chase the money or reminders, and if it's a collection call, it's never one call. And at the end of it, hopefully you get paid, and it's always late than what you've anticipated. What we've done is we tried to shift it and make it look basically like you're paying Netflix. So instead of you sending a paper or paper-like agreement, you will send your client a very cool link to your own mini portal or mini agreement. It's completely mobile. It looks nice, and there's no fluff, meaning it will state exactly the engagement, how much they pay, what are you supposed to give them, what are they supposed to give you, everything in simple words, so they can just look at it and understand exactly that it's what you spoke with them about. Because normally what a proposal look like in most businesses is that you send them this relatively large amounts of words that are the premises for them to be impressed by how the things we've done in the past and the legal stuff, and then just at the end of it you have how much you're supposed to pay. Most people really just skim through that as fast as they can, just looking to see the bottom line. So we said, let's flip that. Bottom line first. All the wording is down as the terms, very much like e-commerce, like an Amazon cart, where you just see, you want to skim, make sure that everything is in line, and then you can move forward.
Right.
So the people can sign with their finger real quickly, and then when the screen flips, Anchor asks them for their payment information in advance. We're not charging them, but we're asking for either a credit card or an ACH. ACH is free, and credit card is just the typical 2.9. And the default is that the client is taking on that commission. The vendor can definitely choose, but that's the default, we believe, because we're giving them a very valid free option.
Okay.
Once that happens, that agreement is acting as a single source of truth between you and your customer. It's digital, both a computer understands it and a human. So it can actually populate an invoice according to everything that you agreed on, like the terms, the services, and there's all templates that it's very, very easy to create. The invoice is generated exactly on time, and it's being paid automatically. You can choose it naturally per client and according to what you decide, but it's being paid automatically, and then the money is being transferred to your account and being reconciled automatically with QuickBooks or any other GL that you're using. So in essence, from proposal to signed agreement to collecting the payment information, generating an invoice, paying for that invoice, and reconciling it and getting paid, we've done all of that in one system, and there's no silos, and everything just is streamlined. And you can then put billing behind you and actually focus on your business. And what we created is changing the equation. The equation up until now is you work, and then your client needs to work or do something actively in order for you to get paid. With Anchor, you work, and then you get paid by default, and your client needs to actively do something in order for you not to get paid.
Right.
We all know that, comfort and convenience rules everything, and, the default is just, and you do your work. They're supposed to pay. And if you ask the clients, they want to pay. And with Anchor, they have an absolute confidence that it's according to the agreement, because the invoice was not generated manually. There's no mistakes. There's no different fields in Zapier or something went wrong. So they know for a fact that the invoice is correct. And when that happens, they're able to rest assured and let the payment flow. So you're actually canceling the AP for their side. You're letting them have a very, very good experience with you, and you're making it easy to pay you.
Well, I like the ease part, and I'm going to be quite honest. As a professional at heart, and I've had a professional practice many years. I'm still having one as well. The most difficult thing when I mentor and coach professional firms is their receivable list, and they don't like collecting, right? Because it's a stressful job. The level of work that they have to do, and going to their customers and asking for payment is a tough call, right? Because you've done the work and you expect to get paid, but the customer's busy or whatever, and you have to keep going back and forth, back and forth. So I like the fact that the whole system is automated, and it's automated at the front end. I believe that the time to negotiate and the time to get an agreement on what the services are and how much it is at the beginning, not at the end, right? So Anchor seems to put that in place because it literally gets everything set up at the beginning, and then once everybody agrees at the beginning, once the service is complete or whatever the agreement says how the service is supposed to be dealt with, the payments are automatic. So that's fantastic, Omri. I really like that.
And what we're seeing is tremendous impact with our clients. So we measure everything religiously, like really everything. And we've seen like two metrics that are very easy to measure, especially with bookkeepers and accountants, is time, because they actually measure it. So they measure it, and sometimes they pay according to time. So this is a very easy metrics to measure. And it really depends on the amount of staff that you have, but it slashes time. So I would say if I'm looking at per client, everyone can do their own calculation according to how many invoices they have. But
sure,
if you have a practice that is mid-size, let's say 70 to 100 clients, something like that, if you accumulate all the hours that we will save, revenue leakage that we haven't even spoke about, commissions and other things, and the salaries that go into that time, we're talking about savings of north of $60,000 a year. And this is what we're seeing now before we really optimize it. So we feel that we still have a way to go, and we feel that there's a lot more that we can improve. But right now, we're already seeing a very meaningful impact. And moving forward, what we want to measure is customer satisfaction. We're already seeing like that they're signing a lot quicker. So but this is just feedback that's not measurable because we don't have the preference data before. But what we're being reported is that from proposal to signature to paid, it's 43% faster than on average on all the practices that we've served. And this makes sense because everything is simpler, and the objective is to get it signed, as you said, when the iron is hot and everybody they want to engage with you.
Yeah.
But this is when mostly you're thinking about new customers. And new clients are easy. They'll, you show them your process, and normally they just go along with it. The thing that we thought would be difficult, and we discovered that it's not the case, is existing clients. So, they're used to, a certain way, and we don't want to, shake that boat, and we want to keep it steady. And we saw that the minute that we shared with them that we're just, there's a new way, an automated way, it will make their life easier and our life easier, and we can serve them better. It's more modern, it's mobile, they have full access, full transparency. We saw that there was very, very little friction, and the onboarding was phenomenal. And the amount of time that those practices saved is just, it's remarkable. I'm leaving off these feedbacks, that what makes me click in the morning.
That's great, Omri. When you said that existing customers, it's I've had to deal with this too, where when with bookkeepers and accountants, they're professionals, they think their customers, might be upset by change. And in today's world, they're quite used to change. Anything that helps them, like you say, reduce their work. So anything that allows them to not worry about something, right? They'll be definitely interested in looking at. And if you do a great service and provide a great product, they know they're going to pay. They want to pay you. That's not an issue, right? So if you help them with the process, very few customers, whether they're existing or new, will be upset about it. So I think and the transparency, you hit it right on the head. This process almost makes it completely transparent because it's done at the front, right? There's no surprises at the back because you basically laid everything out of how the service is going to be done, the payment or the billing or whatever it is, and all once they've agreed to it, it's an automatic process. So I think that's fantastic. So tell us, how can someone connect with Anchor? What would we need to do if anybody's listening to this broadcast and they want to know more about Anchor and they want to get involved and see your product? What would they have to do?
So very easily go to sayanchor.com, which is our website. You can sign up for free and actually use the system for free. It doesn't cost anything until you get paid. So you can send agreements, you can send invoices. We are only taking, and there's no credit card needed, we are only taking $5 per payment received, meaning only after you're paid, then we are paid. So we have full alignment of interest. So you can actually use the product for free until you get paid. And so just go ahead and check it out. And right now, specifically for this podcast, we have a promotion that is the end of the year and before the busy season start. So everybody that will sign up through the link that you'll send, or everybody signing up and saying that they reach from the podcast, are getting 3 months for free completely. So all the clients that they will use are completely free.
So that's a unique format, Omri, where we don't get paid until you get paid, which means that you're not putting any drain on your customers' cash flow because it ties directly into their payment cycle. So I love that. That's fantastic. Omri, thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I really liked how this product is directed to the professionals and their dilemma in collecting. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody listening. I hope that this was valuable, and I hope to help in the future.
Fantastic. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast, Spotlight Edition. To learn more about today's guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye and have a great day.
You've been listening to the Spotlight edition of The Successful Bookkeeper with Louis Prosperi. For more information and to access the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening and have a great week.